Hello everybody and a warm welcome to my channel, Tarot by Izabela. I am very happy to see you here today and I hope you're all doing fine, even if we live in quite turbulent times for the moment. Today's video will be an update video for the countries of Sweden and Poland. And to do this video as usual, I use my crystal ball, tarot cards, oracle cards and dice. But before we begin, I must thank you all, you wonderful viewers, for all of your support to this channel. I'm very, very grateful for all of your beautiful comments, your sharing, your caring, your mails, and of course your coffees. So everything that you do, it really helps a lot and it gives a lot of inspiration and strength to continue doing more videos. So I'm very, very, very grateful. And as always, I need to do a little scam warning for the false tarot by Izabela. And that channel called themselves God of Psychic Podcast, something like that. This is not my channel. My channel is only Tarot by Izabela, nothing else. And that scam cat channel steals my videos and pretends to be me to scam the viewers, so please be careful. And if you click on the channel's name, you will see that the real Tarot Izabela have an ID number that is unique for the real Tarot Izabela, and that is at Tarot by Izabela 209. If a channel have a different ID number than that one, then they are scammers. So please be careful. Okay. Well, today's video will be an update video for the countries of Sweden and Poland. And in front of me I have a map of Sweden and a map of Poland. And those maps, there are a good help for me in case I see some event in a specific area of those two countries, and to easier pinpoint out where it could be around which city or area. Then the maps could be of great help, since my geographical knowledge is not photographic and I don't remember all places, all cities and every country in the world. And why I chose to make Sweden and Poland today is because I'm born in Poland, came to Sweden as a child, and I lived almost all my life in Sweden. So those two countries are quite close to me. So that's why we're gonna make those countries. And since there are many viewers that have been here since the beginning of this channel, like for 3 years ago, and a lot of those viewers are from Sweden and Poland, so it's also a small thank you to them. Yeah. So now, let's start the reading. First, I need to concentrate for a few moments on my crystal ball. And I don't know if any dates or time frames will come up in this reading, since time is very difficult to predict. Sometimes it could be like in summer, winter, or even more specific. But time is always an approximate. And when I do readings, I don't do readings like for 10, 20 years ahead, if I don't say that in advance. So if something comes up that feels quite close in time, then it could be a matter of weeks and months before it happened. Even days. Depends what it is. But don't get too stuck on time frames, please. And I'm not a news channel. This is a divination channel. So what I say are things that may occur. I cannot say for certain. Sometimes the possibility is bigger if it's very clear. But by any means, I'm not a news channel. If you want to watch the news, there's many other places to do so. So this is more a psychic channel. Yeah. Well, now let's start the reading. I need to concentrate for a few moments, and soon we'll see if there are anything that the crystal ball and the cards want to say for the countries of Poland and Sweden. Glasses on, and let's see if we can find something. Okay. In my prediction for May, I was talking about a possible missile hitting somewhere in Europe. Unfortunately, it could be in the northern part of Poland, on the Belarus border. And since Belarus is an ally of Russia, they will blame Russia for it, but it comes from the country U. So it comes from there and go up. But they will blame it on Belarus. If one can say, fortunately, it will not hit a big city. It will, I see, more like a field, but still there could be some houses nearby. But I don't see it hitting a big city with many casualties. Yeah. And I see the Polish people beginning to get more and more fed up, if one can say it nicely, with their leadership. And more people I see with their fists up in the air. Let's leave this EU. Let's be a Poland, a free Poland again. Let's get rid of all those people that don't belong here, that don't wish us well. So very big and loud voices will be raised in Poland of possibility of stepping out of EU. Even though I think Germany will be one of those countries that will leave EU as a surprise, first of all, followed by France, then Poland. So it will go quite quickly when those dominoes begin to fall, those EU dominoes. And Sweden still, I see, quite sleepy. People begin slowly to wake up, but the Swedish population, they have been dumbed down since childhood through their school systems and their propaganda in the news and so on. You have to think in a certain way, if not, you're gonna get freezed out. New friends, new working place, everywhere, if you don't follow the narrative that the almighty holy news stations are saying. But still I see the Swedish hearts beginning to, something is not right here. Maybe there is a different twist to this story, or maybe there is a different truth. So we're gonna see this spring and summer in the Swedish population, they're gonna begin to question many things. And that is also because a lot of truths are beginning to come out in the news flows, in Facebook flows, and a lot of people are still using Facebook and other alternative um, social media for their news. And a lot of people will not be quiet. They will talk about it when a chance is given. And every time someone says something that goes against the narrative, the person that is hearing it maybe not recognize it or don't want to listen, but the seed is already there in earth, starting to grow, and they cannot forget what they have heard. And when one thing after another happens that confirms that conspiracy theorists saying, people will begin to question and will begin to realize that the government were never their friends. In northern Sweden, around Piteå, Luleå, and Kalix, a little bit inland around those three cities, I see a quite big earthquake coming, more than 4.4, 4.5, almost 5. Will be felt down in the Swedish area. And after that, an earthquake in the middle of above Skåne, around the cities of Värnamo, Halmstad, Växjö, Jönköping, somewhere there. Could also be another earthquake. And somehow, even if there are two different places with a long distance, they are somehow related. And I get a strong vision that one person from the Swedish royal family will get arrested for some very serious crimes. And there are a lot of Swedish names from Swedish high society, high profile figures in those famous files from that famous island. So they have been written down by some authorities that have the right to go into Sweden and arrest them. So some very strange things will be happening in Sweden when high profile names suddenly get arrested by, not by Swedish police, by foreign police. And I see some accident with a ferry outside Stockholm, could even be between Stockholm and Gotland, in that area of the sea. And the ferry is leaking in water, and they will have to do some kind of rescue operation for the passengers. And I don't see it in winter, I see it quite nice weather, so it's not because of bad weather, it's some malfunction with the ferry. And in the south of Poland, in the mountain area, they have some kind of I don't know what it's called in English. when you have cages on a line that goes down from a high area down. And I see one of those cages malfunction and going down. Quite a nasty accident. But not all will perish. Some people will be hurt. The good thing, if there is a good thing in this accident, that it's not on the highest level, it's more close to ground when it happens. And I see a spirit of protecting the country being awake in Poland. A lot of people will shout out, we want to protect our country, our old culture, our countryside, our forests, our lands. And a lot of protest again against EU for their directives regarding chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, and so on. So a lot of people want to leave that. And even though the government want to try to push EU narrative, there is uprising coming in Poland. Like, hell no. No. We have fought the Second World War. We have suffered this and this. We will not be slaves under pseudo mustache man dictatorship from Brussels. And I see could call it a grid of people connecting with each other all around Poland. Conspiracy theorists spreading the latest news that goes against the narrative. And people are hungry for real news. Even if the population, many of them are still sleeping, it's like it's time now. And a lot of people will be activated, and a lot of people would say no, 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 no. So I see like the whole country of Poland just screaming out loud, no, no more. And during summertime in the northern Poland, there are beautiful beaches and beautiful towns, and they have many events. There could be some kind of terrorist attack on an event in the northern Poland just to induce fear in the population, since many times fear is stronger. It's a very strong emotion, and they have been able to control many countries with one or two terrorist attacks, bigger or smaller, to keep the population in order. But this time it will have the reversed effect. The no will grow even bigger if that happens. And whatever narrative they will try to push on Poland, it will not work. And I see on the Polish border to Ukraine a lot of people returning to Ukraine. They will not want to be in Poland anymore. So I see a lot of people returning. 2 cities around the border that is far away from the eastern border where most of the conflict is happening. Unfortunately, Sweden is a country that almost every day we have shootings, bombings, killings, gang-related violence, and it's hitting even the smallest cities, you can see that almost every day something is happening. And that was not the case like 20, 30 years ago. And today is like everyday food. And people are getting tired of it. It's like a never ending story. Mm. And unfortunately, this summer, I see a lot of, explosions going on everywhere. It could be some kind of escalation to this problem. And that will be shown in news all around the world. And you are not allowed to talk against it. Especially who stands for the majority of those crimes. Eventually, in a quite close future, time is very difficult to predict on, all governments will fall. In every country around our planet. Governments that are corrupt, governments that are really not working for the people. For a period of time, there will not be any leadership from that country until every country is cleaned out of evil. And then the people can rule again. Gary and we did a video about this. If you scroll down the video lists, you will be able to see it. And that future I see for both of those countries. But until we reach there still will be some turbulence in both countries. Somewhere in the middle of Sweden, above Stockholm, in the area of Östersund, Jämtland, Härnösand, Sundsvall, somewhere there, I see a small passenger plane having an accident. Malfunction. And it will be able to land, but still it could be quite dramatic. And the bridge between Malmö and Copenhagen, I see some problem with that big bridge. Could be one of the pillars will be cracking. Could even be that bridge have to be closed for a period of time. Something with a pillar. Both in Poland and Sweden, I see there could be a little bit of dramatic summer with a lot of people seeking help and doctors, hospitals, of feeling very ill suddenly from nowhere. It seems like both those countries, or they will go under some kind of energetic attack or some very strange. People will really feel ill, and I see hospitals working overtime with people feeling ill. And it's like a weakness, dizziness, faintness, very, very strange. Yeah. Some very intense energies will bombard those two countries during summertime. And in Sweden, many places drought, also in Poland, drought, and in some places too much water. So a country can have both drought and flooding at the same time. So they're really playing with weather modification machines. So people have to be a little bit careful. And half of Sweden, I see them without electricity at some point. So for Sweden, I can recommend people have some candles, some battery torches or driven torches or something in case that happened. And I have some water at home, containers to have water, because this could be like 2 to 3 days with problem with electricity in many places. I see like a big station totally burned out, like could be a sabotage of some kind. And that power station is in charge of the electricity to almost whole Sweden. And I see in Poland there will be some kind of uprising against toxic foods. There was a period Poland only had organic food before things changed and they become modern. And more people will be aware of the toxic ingredients in most of the foods you buy in the supermarkets. And I see many supermarkets almost being forced to get rid of all this highly processed false items they called food. And people will seek the old knowledge, how to preserve food, how to make everything from scratch as they did before. They will try to release some kind of toxins in the south of Poland, Vistula, the river Vistula. But those who do it, they will be caught and they would be able to limit the damage of that toxic release. Yeah. A lot of dark actors on high position in Poland, in Sweden, are about to get exposed. Who is ruling who and from where and what. And it seems like many of those extremely evil people on high position, they have played many countries around the world. And a lot of this is going to exposed. And many politicians are about to fall in Sweden. Big, 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 big scandals. And one big politician in Poland that have ruled for a time, you will get arrested. Okay. Well, that was what I could see in the crystal ball. Now, let's take some cards on each country. And we're gonna begin with Sweden. So now I'm gonna take some cards on Sweden. gonna use these cards. These ones. No, let's take these ones. And some dice. Well, the cards and dice for Sweden, they look like this. Okay, in the tarot cards for Sweden, we have 3 of Swords, 4 of Cups, and a King of Coins. On the oracle cards, we have main female, unease, and a castle. On the dice, we have football, leaves, and like 2 people talking to each other. Here we come back to the scandals that are about to come in Sweden. Very big, very shaky scandals regarding people on very high position in society. Could be the royal family, and it could also be politicians on high level. And they will leave their office when a lot of dirty, nasty, horrible things about what they have done and who they have been involved with, for how much, because money is also involved. When that will be released, it will be scandal after scandal, because it's a grid. On this football, it looks like a grid. Everyone is connected to everyone. And that will be on everybody's mouth, a topic to talk about around the dinner table, between friends, on workplace, on buses, in the soup. Everybody will talk about it, because their scandals are so huge. And there are both females and males, both women and men involved in this. People on very high position. And it's like those people that have committed those crimes, those very dark, nasty, evil things, they will or they are already feeling unease. Something is brewing beneath the surface, and it's just a matter of time. And time is very difficult to predict on, but everything points at it that it's like at any given moment, and one after another will fall. And I think this summer and autumn will be quite explosive regarding people on high position in Sweden. And it's time they disappear. It's time they stop torturing the citizens of Sweden with their laws, their rules, their policies, or whatever they are trying to impose on the people. And I said, people on high position, could be in politics, could be in the royal family, could be in corporations, could be in the mass media, could be doctors, could be anywhere. People with a lot of influence over what's happening in Sweden. And a lot of them will go down. Yeah. Now, let's take some cards on Poland. I'm gonna use them. For Poland. And I have to say that the video for Denmark, Finland, Norway and Iceland, I will do it later on in the month of May. So I'm not sure when it will be ready, in the middle or at the end of May. But in the month of May, it's my plan is to do an update video for those 4 countries: Norway, Finland, Denmark and Iceland. What are we gonna use? This one. And some dice. Okay. And the cards and dice for Poland, they look like this. Let's see what cards we have from Poland. In the tarot cards, we have King of Pentacles, the Empress, and 8 of Wands. On the Oracle cards, we have Celebration. Get ready to let your hair down and celebrate. It's time to go out, to dance and play. Death, inheritance. Then we have lightning bolt, flesh, putrid, and head with a question mark in it. This I'll come back a little bit to what I saw. I have to change the maps. In the northern of Poland, during time of celebration, we have a flash lightning bolt that can strike with some kind of terrorist attack, someone that wishes death on people during celebration. And it's real putrid, it's evil. So I can recommend people, especially in the northern parts, when it's time for big festivals or celebrations, please be a little bit attentive, be careful, look around your shoulder. If something feels uneasy, go from there. And yeah, if it's possible, try to avoid big crowds. And yeah, and here, as I also said, the inheritance of Poland, because Poland have so much knowledge, old farmer knowledge, how to make things of your own, how to make a good dinner from scratch, how to make your own sausages and all kinds of preserves. That knowledge, they're trying to erase it, but it will have a revival, so people will go on courses how to make their own canned food from scratch and so on. That old knowledge that kept Poland alive during very difficult times is coming back. And it will make the population healthier, more active, when they start to say no to that toxic, highly processed junk they called food. And it will come as a surprise that so many people want to return to the roots, to what made Poland strong and healthy for many, many years. A big scandal will also come up regarding pregnant women. Horrible things that the medical establishment had made to pregnant women will also be revealed. And that is also one of the triggers that will wake up the Polish population to a big no. It's horrible, yeah, especially when people in good faith trusted some health advice, but it turned out to be extremely dangerous. So yeah, a revolution is coming to Poland. And this summer, just to keep that revolution down, they will try to make some kind of attack on the people. So please be careful, please be aware. And if you see, and there are a lot of heroes and Polish men and women, they are, they have muscles and they're not afraid to show them. So a lot of brave people will be able to stop this from getting much worse than those that planned it have wanted it to be. Well, that was my update video for the countries of Sweden and Poland. And for all of you beautiful people, wonderful people in Sweden and Poland, be strong, try to help your neighbor, be open-minded, try to question everything. Why is it this way? And why not another way? It's not illegal to ask questions. We are entitled to it. And there is always many sides to a coin. You think it's only two sides, but we have the edge also. So we have to see on every question from different perspectives before we make a decision. And be prepared. A lot of truths bombs are coming that could be quite shocking for both of those countries. But we will overcome, and we are going for times all this pain and suffering will be gone, and we can finally live in peace and harmony. And that time is within our lifetime, so it's not very far away. Okay? So again, thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully we're gonna see each other soon again. Bye bye.